clean brush. I'm actually going to go across, right across the lot, and drag a bit of that colour in. See that? So you've just got a lovely little glow going on in there. Can actually come right through. I'm not putting on a lot of pressure. I'm being very gentle when I do that. There. Great. Now, back to this part. I'm going to just get some black into that same brown colour. And there's crimson in there and all sorts. But predominantly more black than we had before. Because we want this water to be really good and dark. I'm just going to pull a bit of that in and then leave an area that's lighter just in there. Look like little ripples and stuff that's going on the water. Same at this side. Cool. Very, very happy with how this is going. A lot of fun. I always love painting these beautiful sunset scenes like this. I've got a little surprise for you at the end as well, so that's a bit something for you to look forward to. Can't tell you, or I might have to kill you. Save the surprise till the end. There, now you can see all these different tones that we've got in there. You can use a clean brush and just gently, any that haven't blended nicely, just in there, I'm just going to gently blend over them, like that one. There. That's it. Make it look really lovely and smooth in that area. Right, I'm just using this dark colour again on a 1-inch brush, and I've put some masking tape along the horizon line where I want it. I know the oil's wet, but it's not really that big a deal at the moment. It's going to give me a really nice edge. So I've got this dark brown, which we used for this, you know, in this dark area, and allow it to mix a little bit with the slightly lighter tone. See that? Just there. It will get slightly lighter the more you blend it. I need this contrast that I'm going to get now from that dark. It's getting lighter towards this edge anyway, as we can see. Which is what we want. We want it to get lighter over this way. I want this dark in here will give us our waterline, and then we can paint up to that basically really easily. And that in there. Great stuff. Now I might just darken it a tiny bit more at this edge, and then bring that through and then blend it up. Forget that the tape's there, just don't go below it. As long as you don't go below it, you won't have no problems. And I'm making that a bit more solid just in centre as well, because that's the big horizon clouds are then all along that horizon in there. Great. Now come back and take off the tape. Now it's going to take part of the paint off that you put on underneath, but that's not relevant because now what you've got is a beautiful waterline all the way along, straight, perfectly vertical. Just mark either side of your canvas where you want it to go, and that'll be ideal for you. It's just time for highlighting these clouds. So I'm going to get some yellow, straight yellow, just put that down there, And then I'm going to use titanium white in with that. Just straight titanium white in with that colour there. So you've got a bright yellow basically. Right, so with that yellow and white, I want to actually go right over the top edge of this and just indicate some of that highlight in there from the top of the clouds, from the sun. Now when you're doing this you will end up picking up quite a bit of paint, so I suggest that you keep some paper towels at the side of you so that when you pick up that colour on end you just wipe it off then. And once you've wiped it off you're back to your white and your yellow again. So you have to do that continually, keep cleaning your brush. So I'm just using tiny little circles really just to push some of that highlight colour in there. You can use the side sometimes and use some of that colour, but I don't want it to be too distinct at the moment, so I'll just go over some of these areas, putting little tiny highlights in there. But you will pick up this colour from underneath, it's guaranteed. Don't worry about it, just let it happen and mix it with it like that. Just let it blend nice and softly into the dark area underneath. Just little highlights basically for the clouds. You've got to constantly keep reloading your brush though throughout doing this. Now just up in here, I'm going to push some of that colour in and I'm going to bring it a bit further out, you see. You can go up in there and use the sides of the brush. Just want to get some of that colour in basically, that's all. You will keep using this paper like crazy while you're doing this. But keep your yellow and your white clean. It's important, very very important. You can go back into them areas once you put that colour in with a fresh load, and you can just gently wisp it on the edges. Actually let it just mix together in there now. It's not as bright as you get up here into these areas, but when you get down into there it gets really bright then. White into yellow again. You need quite a lot of paint on your brush when you're doing this. It's quite important, is that. There we go. Keep going back up into these areas and you can even bring little clouds coming off. Just like in there. And just touch into that. Little clouds that are coming off of that. Just highlighting all these little edges just in here. You can use the side part just up in there a bit. But we don't want them to have flat tops to them. Go underneath sometimes and just stop it from being solid on that bottom edge where the cloud is. Right, more titanium white, yellow, and then just up in here I can just really mush some of that in, just up in there. Mixed together. Perfect. Sometimes come into the cloud a little bit. Go behind it, underneath it slightly. Same over in here. Just paint behind it where the cloud's going to be. Clean that off. See, I want this light to be right on the edge basically. constantly keep getting fresh paint. I guarantee you it will mucky the colour if you allow it to. So this little cloud here getting highlighted first, and then as you run out of colour slightly, you can just come down into here, put some more little highlights going on. Reload my brush again. Now it actually starts to split off a little bit down here. So you've got this little cloud here that's actually, I'm going to make it a tiny bit brighter. See that? Just a little bit brighter, and then have it so it's like it's coming through there. Clean the brush off again. And just blend that together in there. But before I'm blending, every time I'm cleaning the brush off, maybe brighten that a bit, just on that edge. Take your time with it, you know. Don't feel like you need to rush. It's not about rushing, just enjoy it. Now I just want to brighten up that bit there. Just on that edge. See that now comes predominantly through there. Use the side of the brush now and again, and you can just put a few little indications as well. That's cool. Right. I'm now going to start getting a bit of shape in these other clouds. Just down in here. It actually comes along like I've got it there, and it comes around to about there. That's just a highlight, blend into that again as usual. Clean off the brush, and you can just go in between them two like I've been doing, so that it doesn't. Can't see where one colour starts, and it's just lit up on the edge, basically. Right. Now this part is lit up because it's near the sun. I'm going into it twice. There. Lovely little highlight on that. Now just on this one I want a little highlight as well, so I'm just going to smear some of that in there as well. Just highlight the top of that one a bit. That's it. Just a little bit. You can actually clean off that. Take off the excess paint, and then just in there I'll mix underneath that slightly, just a little bit, so it's highlighted on the top, the very top edge. Great. We're having some fun with this one. Now I'm just stepping back, and I'm seeing this bit in here coming naturally forward now, just in front of that slightly. So I'll do that, clean off the brush again, take off the majority of the paint, and you can just blend into that nice and softly and give it a nice top. That's good. You can create layers, you see, with these clouds. I want you to start creating layers. Just play with these things. have a bit of fun. Even then I'll probably go back in and put a few little floaters going on that have just crept over. Just soft, blended in. Up in there, you can go into that bit and blend that out. Got quite a bit going on in these flowers already. Not really done that much. Right, so just on the top of this cloud here now, I'm going to use a fan brush. Big fan brush. I'm just going to do the same thing with the white and the yellow, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull both sides of the brush through white and yellow together, there, about like so. Sharp chiseled edge on your brush, and then just in here, right on the very tops, I'm just going to touch and pull slightly to the left, and that touch and pull, it actually smudges it slightly with the colour. See that? And it just gives you a little highlight on top of that. It's going to be less over this way, so you can blend into that stuff that you put over on that edge, and it's going to be brighter over in there. So what I'll do, I'll just clean off the colour. See that? The colour that I've picked up on the brush, clean it off on a paper towel, and then go back into the yellow and white again, and then just in here I want a really nice highlight on this. So just start off in there as I did before, putting a little highlight on that top edge, but I want it to be brighter in here, and then as it goes away from the sun it'll get a bit darker. Right, so I'm just going to switch to a fan brush and use a fan brush for this now. So we've got a lot of colour on the brush. Show you how to use this fan brush for this as well. Now just up in here we've got loads of little highlights on top of this. I'm just going to use the corner of the brush for it this time, the very edge, and as you can see I sort of like rub into it slightly as well. Switch corners. This is a clean corner we've got now. Put a little highlight on there. It's a good way of doing it a bit faster. Always have that paper towel though to pull that paint off, and you can reload then. So you can do it like this and just put all of it on first. Get all your highlights on there how you want them. Just go back into it slightly. See, by going back into it, it'll just make it fit perfect, and it'll also distract the eye. It's just not a sharp line on top. Go back behind that slightly again, even there, because I don't want to see that edge at all. That's good. Right, I'm just going to keep using this white and yellow predominantly throughout this picture. Now, just on here, put a little highlight just on that part. I hope that stands out enough for you guys. Now, just having a look, now just in here, I've got a bit of something as well, like a wispy, distant thing going on. So I'm just mushing a bit of the light colour in there. That's it. Again, keep your paper towel out. You can just tap it out, because on the corners you're going to pick up that colour from the sky every time. But it's quite a quick way of doing it when you're highlighting like this. Come up in here near the sun, and this wants to be quite a bright one in here. And I'll have a little part coming off the bottom of that. Reload again. So you're always going to pick up that colour that's on there, so just don't fight it, let it happen, and it will mix with this, and that's what we want it to mix. Right, so put a bit more yellow and white into that part, and then I want this to tail off a bit, just over there. But what you can do, something that we're going to do up in here as well, so you can really get away with mushing some of that in for them clouds. Make some of them a bit bigger, some of them a bit smaller, but I'll go back into them every time. There we go. Go back into that. Give them some nice shape and form. You can go back into them as well. It's like little shadows. Right. Again, a bit of a brighter one just in here because of the sun being there. Turn over. Use the fresh corner. Just want that to be quite a stringy cloud that's up in there. Keeping it bright near where the sun area is. That's lovely. Again, fresh loads of paint. Now, we've got this little area here that's going to need some lovely little highlights on it. So, first of all, just do in there. On top of that. Turn it over when you run out of paint, and you can just smudge some of that in. Go back into it. Just make it look perfect. Nice dark shadow behind that one. Definitely want that. That's exactly what I wanted. Right then. Just in here. I'll just brighten that up a bit from what it is. So you can just keep going back in. If you want it a tiny bit brighter, go back in again with a tiny bit more colour. It's common sense really. It's all common sense. And we've got a part in between here where this actually goes back to there. You get two layers of clouds basically. That one behind this one. Yellow and white again. Now, I've got a little cloud that's just going on in here. Rough behind it. And it just disappears off into nothing. So I've used the brighter part where the sun is, just to that you can just highlight it a tiny bit here and there where you want it a bit brighter. Go back in. But usually just do that on the edges. Just leave a bit of it showing through. That's good. You'll notice on my palette where I'm tapping the brush off all the time, with the dirty colour just in there. Right, back to my yellow and white. It's all the same all the way through, basically, yellow and white right through. Now, I know that just up in here I've got a load of little clouds. They're quite bright. They're only little, they're not very big. You know, so you can just pop them in there. I think I might actually put one that comes right from there, right near that sun. So it's going to be lit up quite brightly. I'm just going to come along a bit and have it wisp out. But why not join it to that slightly? I just love doing these little clouds. And the closer to the sun you are, the brighter they will be. Always. Nice little bright one in there. Different sized ones as well. Some small like so. And some bigger ones. Now, we do want quite a lot going on up in here, so you can afford to really, when you come away from the light, you get away with doing a lot more clouds for less colour. You don't need as much colour to do it. So you just pull a bit of that colour in there basically to look like a little wispy cloud that's going on up in the sky. So you'll still pick up them bits of yellow that you've got on the side of the brush now and again, and just use them. That's it. Right up in there as well. Reloading fresh paint. So I want it to be quite bright around where that sunny area is. And there it's really bright. Now, right up in here we've got some which are actually going off of the canvas. So I'm just going to smear some of that in there. Bit in there as well, maybe. That's it. Tap out on a paper towel again. You get fresh amounts of white with the yellow, and then continue on up here. And we've got another little cloud just there. Really want you to make them look natural though. Plenty of them. So you really do need plenty of these. Little clouds going on. It really is the highlight of the picture. It'll probably end up that I spent a lot more time doing the clouds in the sky and everything than I have for the rest of the whole picture, so putting a bit of light up into that so it stands out a tiny bit more. It's dark, you see, so you don't need a lot.